of Southern Cameroon's fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. This day is Wednesday, November 22, 2023. I want to take this occasion, which is the eve of Thanksgiving for those of us who are in the United States of America, to extend our hearty regards to all our brave hearts on ground zero who continue to hold the lines unabated, who continue to sacrifice their energy, to sacrifice resources, to sacrifice their time, their families, to even sacrifice their lives so that we should have a country, so that we should have freedom. I want to extend very hearty salutes to all of them. I also want to take this occasion to extend very hearty salutes and thanksgiving to our prisoners of war. A good lot of them who are facing very difficult conditions, undergoing all forms of torture and dehumanization in the dungeons of La République du Cameroon, in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Boya, in Bamenda, some in Bafoussam, others even in Cholere, others in places that we are not even aware of. So, my people of Ambazonia, I'm taking this occasion of the Thanksgiving for us here in the US to extend hearty regards to all these people. And over and above all, too, I want to extend hearty regards to our civilian population on ground zero for all the sacrifices year in, year out since 2016 that we embrace this phase of our liberation movement, this phase of our fight for freedom. Every Monday and on special occasions, you shut down your businesses, you shut down your offices, you shut down everything and stay in your homes to demonstrate to the rest of the world that this fight is not a fight of a bunch, of a small, of a selected few, like La République du Cameroon has tried to portray, that are just anxious to spoil the peace, that it is the people's collective fight for freedom, the people's collective struggle for freedom. I extend my hearty regards and my hearty salute, therefore, to all of you. I want to take this occasion, of course, which is the eve of Thanksgiving in the United States of America, as I said a while ago, to call on our brethren in the United States of America that as we are all going to be observing Thanksgiving, those who are going to be dancing, those who are going to be eating, those who are going to be drinking, those who are going to be celebrating one thing or the other, and of course, families will sit around turkey, around other things to feast. I want us to take this occasion also because Thanksgiving is a moment of sharing. Like you see, there have been a lot of drives, turkey giveaway, all kinds of giving away in the United States to the poor, to the needy, to those who don't have. This is an occasion for us as Ambazonians, as Southern Cameroonians, to also give away to our prisoners of war. They are suffering enormously. They are facing really unheard of conditions, but they are staying resilient and determined to fight and determined to resist all the way onto independence. Let us share with them. Let us think about them. The same thought should go towards our refugees in ground one, ground two, ground three. Same thought should go to our internally displaced persons who are facing very dehumanizing conditions as well. Let us dare to extend to them today a hand of fellowship. On this occasion of Thanksgiving, please hurry to www.onepotrelief.org and chip in something. Put in something. Put in something. When you put it, if you want it to go to prisoners of war, you can label it when you are checking out for prisoners of war. You are putting it for the refugees, you can label it for refugees. For the internally displaced persons, you can label it for the internally displaced persons. You are putting it for our brave heart, you can put it brave heart. I mean, let me be very clear here. Our objective is simply to make sure that we get everyone to understand that we are one people, one objective, one liberation movement, and we're aspiring to one nation. Therefore, we have just one focus, ensuring the freedom of our land. So, on this occasion of Thanksgiving, while you buy a bottle of beer, a bottle of spirit, or whatsoever to take to friends' places or to share with family, just give the equivalents $50, $100, $500, $1,000, why not even 2,000 for those that have, according to the strength of your finances. Don't forget about the widow's mite. Even if your own is just $10, don't hesitate to put it in. It will go a long way. So let us take this occasion of Thanksgiving to show solidarity. Let us take this occasion of Thanksgiving to touch the hearts and minds of our people and to remind them that this is who we are, a generous people, a people who never forget their own, and that together we will rock. Together we will overcome the challenges before us. So hurry to www.onepodrelief.org. And let me say this, the dark platform is a platform I trust. And a lot of us who have experienced the dark platform will know that their watchwords are transparency and accountability. So no single dollar will be missing. So hurry on, as you can see on the scroll, to www.onepodrelief.org and make this very important contribution. And that said, I want to apologize really sincerely for the failure that I had just a while ago when I just started this live broadcast. There were some technical issues, and I really want to thank the sound engineers that got onto it immediately to see how to restore sound to this broadcast. So we had to interrupt it, we had to get off the air and try to fix things and then come back. And so that said, my people of Ambazonia, before I got into the studio, I was looking at a picture shared with me by a friend. And he said, "Look at this young man in this picture. Can you make him out?" I had to study that picture for long. And I said, "Looks like someone I know." And then along the line, he sent me the next picture. I said, "Do you know this person?" I said, "Oh my goodness, I now know who this is." And this is Amabo Marcel. This is one of ours who, in the very early hours, still in 2017, was picked up in Douala because he was suspected to be one of those who was distributing tracts and helping the people to enforce the ghost towns. So they decided that this guy would slumber in jail. And they picked up Amabo Marcel at the New Bell prison in Douala just weeks before he was to, celebrate his marriage with his fiancée. When I looked at the picture, our brother is totally emaciated. He's in pains. So, like him, many others are in pains in the various prisons. So, please, let this discussion this day touch your heart, touch your mind. So, you make a gesture so that we should continue to let all of those who are affected in one way or the other know that we will never neglect anyone. We will never leave anyone behind. We will continue to stand with one another until we get to the promised land, until we get to freedom land. That said, folks, let us get into the beef of this conversation. Recall in my last video, I talked extensively about the devil taking over La République du Cameroon. This was no joke. I talked essentially about the occult having taken control of about all the fabrics of that society. And while I was preparing this broadcast, I stumbled on a query letter. This query letter was dished out by the Director General of a company called Laboratoire National Vétérinaire. That's they call it LANAVET, but that's the National Veterinary Laboratory. And this is based in Garwa. And when you will look at this query letter, you will begin to understand exactly where this society is. You will begin to understand exactly why we are not moving 1 inch ahead. You begin to understand exactly why our development has stagnated. You begin to understand exactly why we will never be able to move any inch if we continue to remain in any form of union with La République du Cameroun. So when you look at this query letter, it is issued by the Director General of LANAVET of the National Veterinary Laboratory to his driver. To his driver. It's a query letter. And this is what he says in the query letter. This letter is issued on November 3, 2023. That's about 19 days ago. So getting to 3 weeks that was issued. But in this letter, which is a query letter issued to a driver, you hear the Director General say, le mardi 31 octobre 2023, une sauve-souris mystique est entrée dans mon cabinet et a été tuée. That on the 31st of October, a mysterious, listen to what he says, a mysterious bat got into his cabinet in his office and was killed. Why would he think it was mysterious? It's to know. They know the environment in which they are. And then he says on Thursday, November 2, 2023, they saw stains of blood, drops of blood at the main entrance of the building, of that structure. And then he says, on Friday, November 3, at the same place where they saw those stains, those droplets of blood, there was again, they met eggs that were shattered, eggs that were broken. And he says it was easy to recognize it because of the egg yolk. That's the yellow part of the egg yolk. And then he tells the driver in this query, vous rôdiez autour de cette place toute la semaine. Et c'est après votre passage ce jour qu'on a découvert des œufs cassés. That you have been loitering around this place for the entire week. And it is after your passage that we noticed this eggs broken here. So I'm accusing you that you did it. So he says you have 24 hours to explain to me why you are doing this. Folks, listen to this. I am saying this because someone will say, how does this concern us? How does a query letter to a driver in a parapublic company concern us? It does concern us, and I'll say how. Listen, folks, we are dealing in a society which is totally, completely now under the control of the devil. That is why, even to have promotion in every sector of that country today, you need to belong to one sect or the other. That's what I explained. You need to meet, a good lot of babas in order to get there. The reign of the occult. This is the reign of darkness. Our people of Ambazonia do not believe in darkness. The few misguided one among our people, among the southern Cameroonians, who have joined this evil club in La République du Cameroon, absolutely do not represent us. This is not who we are. And therefore, I'm bringing this up to recall that light and darkness have no meeting point. Light and darkness have no meeting point. In darkness, there can be no development. In darkness, there can be no love for one another. In darkness, there can be no concern for the general good. In darkness, nobody cares about the well-being of the masses. In darkness, only Nicodemus-like kind of things are done. People, this is why we have to do everything possible to flee from this darkness. He just talked here about a mysterious bat. And this is not something that just started today. It's been ongoing. Recall, I was at CRTV somewhere in 2004 or 2005. Yeah, I think 2005, when Gervais Mendoza was removed as Director General of CRTV. Just before the handing over, or just after the handing over, next day, a mysterious cat, big cat, fell from the 16th floor from the Director General's office onto the ground, cat outside, and died. And I remember the image of that cat circulated so much on social media with people writing, this cat is 16 years, 3 months old. That is the 16 years and 3 months that Gervais Mendoza spent at the helm of a CRTV. So what I'm trying to explain here is that the reign of the occult had been there for a long time, and it had just been eating gradually into every sector of life, to the point now that there is not a single sector spared of the occult in La République du Cameroon. And we, Ambazonians, are getting contaminated by the ill effects of this. Do you recall, in my last broadcast, I talked here about an article published in a Roman Catholic news outlet known as The Crooks. And the article was written by former CRTV journalist Kilian Gala, in which a priest is revealing that from confessional, that from listening to people in the community, young and old, high up and literally almost the downtrodden, his conclusion was that the devil had elected residents in La République du Cameroon. There is never any agreement you get into with the devil which is win-win. No, you lose. You never win with the devil. There is never any agreement with the devil that gives you the opportunity to score home anything. No, you end up as the loser. My people of Ambazonia, we have suffered for all these years, 65 years and counting, because we are unevenly yoked with a people that have put in place a system that is bloody in nature. That is why human life means nothing to anybody in that triangle. That is why the people believe only in impoverishment and further impoverishment. That is why among the masses, nobody ever gets to just anywhere. Absolutely. I really want to note that in such a system where there is generalized darkness, there will be untoward confusion. Untoward confusion. Where in the world have you ever heard that an administration is holding its workers to ransom because by an error of that administration, people were overpaid? What happens usually is the administration puts in place a collection plan and begins collecting the overpaid portion gradually back from the people. But how did you even get there? Because you can see from this communique, the Minister of Public Health of La République du Cameroon, Malachi Manauda, settles down and issues a press release on which he's calling on hundreds of workers of the Ministry of Public Health whose salaries have been suspended and everything blocked, that unless they pay back into the government coffers huge sums that they were erroneously paid, some they saw their pay multiplied by 2, some by 3. Like they don't, that was in the month of March 2023. It is in November that this release is coming out. I mean, in November. Absolutely, some of these people felt that it was their Father Christmas because nobody said anything the very next month. But it is in November, on November 14th, that the minister is saying salaries have been suspended, people's incomes have been taken to ransom, and unless you pay back what you have eaten since March in the country people live hand to mouth, your salary will not be reinstated. And then to a certain measure, now says, or conversely, you go over to the ministry and agree to a repayment plan. So they start cutting from your salary before your salary will be reinstated. Is it not possible for that ministry to settle down and have this thing handled? This kind of thing. Because the ministry should settle down and look at the incomes and determine the portion of income that can be taken so that what is left, the families depending on that income can continue to survive. But in an evil country, it's total suspension. It's the sledgehammer. This is the kind of confusion in which we find ourselves. Yoked with the people who have no vision. Yoked with the people who don't have any idea how a society is run. Yoked with the people who don't even believe in protecting the general good, the general interest. Yoked with the people who don't believe in development. Who believe that whatever they see everywhere else in the world is a mistake. Something they cannot emulate. Again, you ask me, how does this concern us? We have brethren who continue to, feast from there. They are affected. But again, it concerns us because we should see the kind of cacophony in which we have been plunged for 65 years. This is not how the Southern Cameroons was run. This is not how we were run. From 1954 right up to 1961, we found ourselves in this unfortunate union, everything was thought of. Everything was carefully planned. Listen, there was always a system of checks and balances that will ensure that you don't get to this kind of level. But what is happening here is because one, you have a reign of mediocrity installed because mediocrity in that system supersedes competence, where you are only hired because of whose son you are, because of which demonic sect you belong to, because of where you come from, because of whose ass you are licking or you are kissing. That is what it is. I just wanted to brush through some of those things so that we continue to have an idea exactly what awaits us if we ever end up accepting again to be linked in any form or shape with La République du Cameroon. But the main thrust of today's conversation is around the crumbling castle of cards of La République du Cameroon. I have said it over and over on this platform that the cost of occupation was growing by the day, and that the fundamentals, the pillars that were holding the system of La République du Cameroon together were being chopped into, and they were crumbling gradually. We are getting to that level of the kind of fall that Humpty Dumpty witnessed in La République du Cameroon. In fact, we are right there. Listen, I will demonstrate to you in just a minute how we have reached the bottom. They are today at the bottom. So you are just joining this broadcast, do me a favor. Share, click on the share button and share and share and share until you can share no more. Let us get as many people as possible to get this information that I share on this platform, because it is important for us to continue to sensitize, to continue to motivate our people, to make our people see exactly why they should continue to support this liberation movement with all their strength. Someone put a comment on my last video which said, "Oh, comrade, why are you focusing so much on La République du Cameroon? I think that's wasted energy, wasted effort. You should rather focus all your energy on Ambazonia." Listen, folks, all this energy is on Ambazonia. Talking about the reasons, showing people every day just why we should never ever accept again to have anything to do with La République du Cameroon is not talking about La République du Cameroon, it's talking about Ambazonia. Drawing the attention of our people continually to what awaits us if we ever, God forbid, happen to fail in this liberation movement is talking about Ambazonia, not focusing on La République du Cameroon. So share as much as you can. And of course, why not? Send us the hearts. Send us the hearts. Like. Those things, they actually do help to protect the live shows like this one. And so, folks, as I was saying a while ago, Mr. Paul Biya has three things. Mr. Paul Biya's government has three things, three sectors, three things. I mean, three areas of life that mean life and death for him. That means the world for him. He has protected this area so jealously all the way from 1990 right to this point. Area number one, the production and distribution of alcohol. Listen, Mr. Paul Biya is ready to crush anything that wants to disturb or obstruct the availability of alcohol in good quantities all over the territory. He needs the people to continually get intoxicated so that they focus on menial issues and keep chanting Paul Biya to Joshua. That is why in La République du Cameroon, you will notice that even in the most remote areas where you are unable to get a tablet of paracetamol, you will get Chantua, you will get music, you will get Castel, you will get Guinness, you will get beer at all costs. That is why you will notice that the most lucrative business in that country now are beer parlors. That's what it is. That is why you will notice that you get to one building, a story building of about 8 floors. On 4 different floors, you have about, all of them are littered with unlicenses. They're littered with bars, with liquor, with beer parlors. That's why you have whole junctions that they refer to as Carrefour de Beaucoup de Bar. Listen, folks, the law in that country states that one beer parlor will be separated from the other by at least 500 meters. That means by at least half a kilometer. But like I said a while ago, today, even in hospitals in La République du Cameroon, the canteens sell beer. Even in schools, where according to the law it is forbidden for any beer parlor to operate around the vicinities of schools and hospitals, right inside the premises today, alcohol is the most available commodity. That is what it is. Now, the other sector for Mr. Paul Biya, football. I said football. You recall World Cup 1990. 1990, where Biya was facing the most vicissitudes. From that moment until this day, his image has been the image of le premier sportif camerounais. Quand les Lions on table jouent et gagnent, everything is centered around glorifying football because it is also another serious opium to the masses. They look at it, say, oh, they dance and they drink. And they celebrate. And they say, Paul Biya, toujours chaud gars. And they forget about all the pain around them. That is why in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs 30, Lamuel's mother tells the king, Lamuel, strong drink is not for kings. Give strong drink to the poor and downtrodden, so that they will drink, get married, and remember their sorrows no more. That is Paul Biya's mantra. A combination of beer, that's alcohol, and then football. Oh my goodness, it flows. And then the third sector is the salaries of civil servants. Though slashed as it is, right now, everything is done to make sure that at the end of the month, at least they have that bigger salary. So that at least they will be able to have access to beer. That is why corruption, bribery and corruption is very much enabled and is part of the public policy even to allow the people the latitude to have the extras to spend on alcohol so that they stay permanently intoxicated. But now something happened this week. That has demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that all what La République have been struggling to conceal, they can conceal it no more. That the system has touched rock bottom. That the level of bankruptcy is now totally exacerbated and they can't hide it anymore. We all saw this press release from Charles Ndongo, the Director General of CRTV, the Cameroon Radio Television. I know you will say, but we all saw this press release. Now, what new thing are you about to tell us on this? Listen, folks. This press release is so significant. This press release is so telling. This press release marks an epoch. This press release portrays the health of Mr. Paul Biya's system in La République du Cameroon right now. I pointed out a while ago that one of the three things Paul Biya will not play with is football. Around the Indomitable Lions. That's the name of their football team. I don't know if they're still indomitable. Around the Indomitable Lions. And so therefore, I worked at CRTV for several years. I worked at the sports service, TV sports service. I know what it means when it comes to ensuring that wherever the national team, the national football team of La République du Cameroon, they call it in French l'équipe fanion, that's the darling football team, is playing. Every other thing will be put on hold to ensure maximum coverage. Come to imagine this particular encounter we are talking about here, that was played yesterday in Libya, is a World Cup qualifying encounter, a qualifier for the World Cup 2026. And in the morale of a side like La République the La République du Cameroon football team, they definitely told themselves Libya was going to be a walkover. So the government will want the people to watch that walkover and dance all night, drink all night, and sing Paul Biya to you sugar. But to imagine that CRTV, because for all the years, I know CRTV, this hasn't happened. For a major encounter like this, that at this time, CRTV will tell us what Shandong will say in this communique. He says, la Cameroun Radio Television n'a pas été en mesure de diffuser cet après-midi la rencontre Cameroun-Libye, comptant pour la phase éliminatoire de la Coupe du Monde 2026. Simply put, CRTV was unable to broadcast the encounter pitting Libya against La République du Cameroon, of course, like I said, which is qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup. So he says, la société détentrice des droits de diffusion de cette compétition a fait une offre financière en augmentation de plus de 100% par rapport aux éliminatoires de la dernière Coupe du Monde. He says, the company that bought the rights, that is the broadcast rights for this competition, for this tournament, that they more than doubled the amount that they were taxing for the World Cup qualifiers that had passed, for past World Cup qualifiers. And so CRT was unable to pay because the amount was so exorbitant. Trust me, CRTV is not the only country, it's not the only television station in Africa that was supposed to be buying this right. You will see countries like Benin, countries like Togo, they all were able to pay for this rights and had live broadcasts of this match. They have live broadcasts of these matches even when they are not Libya and they are not Cameroon. CRTV, that they were unable to pay because the amount was too much. And Shandong will say the amount was considered to be so exorbitant by CRTV, and CRTV made another offer, but the offer was not accepted, and they got into negotiations, which negotiations did not result to a deal right up to the moment the match was played. And for that reason, CRTV was unable to broadcast, and so it presents his regrets. Folks, like I said, this is not a simple issue, because for Paul Biya's regime to let it go all the way to the end that CRTV is unable to pay the broadcast rights and have that match broadcast, should tell you that we have touched rock bottom. In the past, it has happened until at the very last minute, Mr. Biya will send a warning call to finance, and they will gather money from all angles to pay to ensure that they have the broadcast rights. Oh yes, that happened several times. And at the last minute, it's always say, okay, the rights, it has been paid. But these are not things that happen overnight. CRTV was definitely aware months in advance that the broadcast rights were bought by this company. CRTV was aware weeks in advance that this company will request this amount as broadcast rights, and other countries are paying. Folks, that's why I say don't look at it as simple. There is no more money in Cameroon. It's finished. I said we have touched rock bottom. To imagine that this is once, and we're not talking here about some friendly encounter. We're not talking about some Cartier match or some warm up. We're not talking here about qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations. We're talking about qualifiers for the World Cup 2026. La République du Cameroun finds itself unable to pay. Listen, folks. Every single transaction that you carry out in the Republic of Cameroon in terms of taxes or customs duties, or even that bottle of beer that you buy, that tax on it, you pay CRTV tax. Even your wages, you pay CRTV tax, whether you watch them or not. Even if you're in the private sector, only in the private sector, you pay CRTV tax, whether you like it or not. So this comes in several billions. But right now, the Republic of Cameroon is cornered. A lot of the money that flows in as CRTV tax, as audiovisual tax, that is directed to CRTV, is now being used, one, to finance the genocidal war in Ambazonia. Two, to pay salaries, to maintain some calm in the country. Three, to meet some of the exorbitant needs of the public relations firms that La République du Cameroun is hiring all over the place. I said this, and I want us to know that we are on the right trajectory, that La République du Cameroun is getting a run for its energy, that the cost of occupation is getting so unbearable, not only financially, but even in terms of human resources. You noticed that a few weeks ago, the government of La République du Cameroon launched a massive recruitment to recruit 4,000 young people into the B. Not just into the army, into the B. Because they had previously recruited over 8,000 into the army. About 4,000 into the B. Every year since 2017, La République du Cameroon has been recruiting soldiers in thousands. Where are they going to? Where are they going to? Because if they were still in place, that country will no longer concentrate, because La République du Cameroon has now just one project: recruiting soldiers on a daily basis. Where are they going to? Because if all those that have been recruiting all the time are there, La République du Cameroon should have an army of over 50 or 60,000. Ask them the strength of their military force right now. They will tell you less than 20,000. Where are they going to? Where are they going to? Your guess is as good as mine. Boko Haram is taking care of a good number up north, and the rest are finding their graves in Bia's expansionist ambition in Ambazonia. And then a good number of them are running every day. That's even where the real problem is right now. A good number of these soldiers are deserting on a daily basis. My inside information indicates that the rate of desertion now is frightening, is alarming. Why? Because not only are they dying uselessly, a good lot of them are now thoroughly frustrated that they don't honor them, not even at death. Because some of them even die on the battlefield. Their remains are not taken to their families even for last respect. They take their phones. They keep their phones. They continue to send messages to the families. Sometimes even send money to the family to make them have that feeling that their sons are still alive, whereas they had long been deleted. And so those within the ranks that know this wonder finally, when do they really get to be paid respect? When do they really show that their lives matter? A good number of them are coming to consciousness and they are deserting. deserting, deserting. On a daily basis, they are now deserting. That's why you find that people in Cameroon confronted with this situation of recruiting soldiers every day. And again, because of the excessive corruption within the ranks, the military is boiling. Boiling, I mean boiling very seriously as we speak. You heard a few days ago, you definitely read Boris Berto, who said there was serious alert at the Unity Palace and security around the president of the Republic seriously reinforced. This is because of a clash that is beginning to build among the various forces. Because you have the B that are outside, you have the presidential guard that are outside, you have the special forces that are outside. Then you now have the regular army that are outside. And treatment is not the same for everyone. There are some who are living like pariahs, while others barely survive. Consequent on this, there is brewing tension. Plus, the very corrupt, high-ranking officials making sure they are eating the bonuses of a lot of these young soldiers who end up dying at the battlefront, not because they could not defend themselves, because number one, they first of all had inadequate training. Number two, they don't have the kind of equipment that they need to face our valiant self-defense volunteers. This is what is going on. I bet you this communique from CRTV should inform you that La République du Cameroun has touched rock bottom. I mean rock bottom. For this to happen and get right to this point, La République du Cameroun has touched rock bottom. That is where it is. And so, folks, the only thing that country counts on today is that they will continue to use all kinds of approaches to divide us, to confuse us, to keep us in bondage. That they will continue to portray fake images, to talk fake things that will... Look, folks, make no mistake. This paper that you are seeing was published in October of 2015. October 2015. Recall? Exactly 1 year to the time the creation of the consortium to lead the people's collective fight for freedom was already in gestation. 2016. October 2016 was in gestation, matured in November, and went ahead to do what we all know right now to take us to where we are today. Look at this. At that time, the SCNC, under Pam Fongalamfo, conducted this referendum, this people's referendum, this survey, and 80.84% of the people, this was only on ground zero, it did not include anybody from the diaspora, voted in favor of independence for Southern Cameroons, and it was reported. This was way back in 2015. You recall that later on, the late venerated Christian Cardinal Toomey conducted another survey. At this time, it could even have had some degree of limited scope, reaching too many people because of the security situation on the ground. But came up with 69% of the people saying what we want is absolute, not my words, his own. That people actually wrote. It was not one of the multiple choice responses. Absolute independence. And therefore, when some of our people sit, we have some little recriminations. People say, oh, that man is a federalist. These people, they are going to sit somewhere to go and sign for federalism. They are going to, oh, Ayuk Tabe has people, yes, they are following people. They went and sat there with these people there. They were going to sell us into federalism. Oh, these people, they went and sat with CDN in Toronto because they want to go and sell into federalism. Oh, in short, all of that. Listen, folks. I've said here 1,001 times that this thing you call federalism is not on offer, has never been on offer, will never be on offer. You see this? It's been circulating on social media for a long time now, but this paper was published in the early 90s. It should be around between 1990 and 1993. Cameroon Post. Title: Mitterrand instructs Biya to reject two-state federation. Right at that time. I'm doing this because I've been saying on this platform over and over and over, stop this nonsense of saying, oh, this person wants to go and sell us for federalism. They want to go and sign for federalism. Listen, there is nobody anywhere offering federalism. Because you need to know, the entity that will let everybody die rather than hear the word federalism is France. It's not even just like Republic du Cameroon. I want you to see at what level the interest is. France needs to have unfettered access to our natural resources. I say unfettered access to our natural resources. For that reason, France got Amadou Ahidjo to violate the federal constitution at that time that was actually brought in only by the Republic du Cameroon, Article 47. That said the federal nature of the state will be inviolate. But France and Twitter Ahidjo to violate it and come up with a fake referendum to bring us into a unity state for the simple reason that France needed unfettered access to the oil that was then discovered in southern Cameroon. As the years have gone by, France realizes that away from oil, there's even far more in the southern Cameroon subsoil than they could imagine. For that reason, France does not want to hear with any ear anyone, even in the Republic Cameroon system, mention the word federalism. And so when you incriminate people or you insult people in our struggle, oh, this one is a federalist, or that one they are going to sell us into federalism, or one they have got to sit because they want to go and accept they are taking that they should go and sign for federalism. Well, this is stupidity. That's exactly what La Republique Cameroon wants us to be talking about. That is what Laurent Esso wrote in a memo in 2017 when he returned from Belgium, where his children was torpedoed by Comrade Mark Barra and others. And he wrote that memo to be and said, there is a school of thought, federalism. Let us stop outlawing. Because initially, 2016, 2017, they were capturing people and detaining them for propagating federalist ideology. Did you hear that? But they quietly stopped incriminating anyone for talking federalism. Because they realized that if they allow us to be talking federalism, it will mitigate our efforts. It will confuse us. It will take away our focus on the objective. Folks, let me make it clear to each and everyone here right now. The only way out for us in this business is absolute independence. Because federalism is not and will never ever be on offer. The day you hear La République du Cameroon say, okay, let's go back to a federal system, it will not be telling you that they are going back to the federal system of 1961. Jamais, never. If they ever get to that point, you know they simply want to buy time so that they are able to deal perhaps with a new set of people whom they'll be able to confuse to take us right back where we are right now. Listen to that carefully. Because look at this. You think it's today that's all these things happen. Look at the next caption down here. Chief Inoni FM declares secession. When you see Chief Inoni FM declares secession here, you think that it is secession as you think that's secession from La République du Cameroon. No, that's not what you think. No. That is when they were launching something called Swella, and which was meant to fight the people from the grass field, instrumentalized by the Biya regime. Because the approach that France and La République du Cameroon have taken is to continually, anytime there is agitation, to continually bring people who say, we don't ever want to have anything to do with the other people because oh, they cheated us, oh, they did that. If we let these people go be only among themselves, they will kill each other. But we were together when we came to them. We were together when we came to meet them. Operating the first ever functional democracy in Africa. From 1954 right up to 1961. But you see, they will tell me that, oh, no, you see, when these people cheated you. They took all the juicy positions. They left you with nothing. But when you go back down memory lane, you realize that the Southern Cameroon setup was the one where you had the most equitable distribution of political power and influence. The most equitable. Where you had a cabinet of 8, and the prime minister was Endele, she will appoint 3 secretaries, as they call them, or call them ministers, from the forest zone to add to himself to make 4, and then appoint 4 secretaries from the grass field, so that they make a total of 8. So in that cabinet of 8, you have 4 from the grass field, 4 from the forest zone. When it was Foncha, what did he do? He appointed 3 secretaries from the grass field to add to himself to make 4, and 4 from the forest zone. The history is there. The annals are there. You can check this out. But now, this whole issue of, oh, these people had cheated us came out. When we found ourselves in this mess with La République du Cameroon, they settled down and decided to create a kind of thorough divide between the people of the grassfield and those of the forest zone, whom they surreptitiously divided into northwest and southwest for the specific reason of pitting us apart, and make sure that there were no roads linking Boya to Bamenda directly, no road linking Kumba to Manfe easily, no road linking Manfe to Bamenda that easily, so that we will all stay apart. You recall the story of the Tower of Babel. That's exactly what they sought to do with us. So we all stay apart, and then they come here and tell you that one is planning to finish with you. They come to you and say that one is wanting to take everything and you will left with nothing. And so each time we start agitating, they will bring these chiefs. Surprised that Archbishop Andrew Kia said that during the nonsensical Grand National Dialogue, they wanted to talk even about federation and all whatnot, and then they instrumentalized late von Mukete, of course, who was rewarded because as soon as he passed on, his son is now appointed senator to replace him, as if it was hereditary. Because of that dirty job that he was brought to do, they come and say, no, we don't want to have anything to do with these people. We really don't want, we don't want anything that joins us with these people. The South needs to start. This is what it is. This is what it is. France is behind all of this. Because for France, right now it's a matter of survival. So folks, listen to me and listen well. Any form of association with La République du Cameroun again after this will spell bad news for the future. Very bad news. France is like the ganglia. I said a while ago that the devil doesn't surrender. He keeps shifting and keeps looking for avenues to weaken you and come right back in. And you never gain anything in any bargain with the devil. So this is what it is. The only way for us to take control of our destiny, take control of our development priorities, take control of our territory, is to make sure that we eject La République du Cameroun and France exactly as it happened in Mali. That is the only way you get rid of France. Exactly as it happened in Niger. Exactly as it happened in Burkina Faso. Exactly as it happened in Guinea. And as it is going to happen in other French-speaking African countries. That is the only way. Don't tell yourself that, no, let us just begin and we'll go incrementally. We start somewhere, like I hear some folks saying, oh, we start somewhere, we can start doing from federation and start going. Federal what? Listen, if you ever hear La République du Cameroon at any given point start talking federation, accepting that they can go, they will never even accept that particular form of federation that existed in 1961. They will not, over their dead bodies. But if they do, that they have been tortured right to a certain point on the peace table, on the negotiation table, they say, okay, yeah, let us go back to that federation and start from there, and then we'll live for some years and we'll see if it doesn't go. Trust me, it will be because they want to buy time and telling themselves that perhaps they may end up having to deal with a different set of people who may become more malleable so that they take us right back to where we are coming from. Cut it off. Cut off. Once and for all. Let me not hear this nonsense of, oh, this one wants to go and sign federalism. Oh, this one is taking us to go and sign Cameroon to go and sign. There is no federalism on offer, and it will never exist. Take that from me today. And so, folks, what I'm happy about is that at least citizens of La République du Cameroon are beginning to come to terms to the fact that we are a people with unmatched determination and resilience. They are beginning to come to terms with the fact that we will never be defeated at war. They are beginning to come to terms with the reality that under Paul Biya they will never get to anywhere. So they are beginning to think ahead. How perhaps they play until Paul Biya is eventually ejected or eventually leaves, and then a new president comes in their country, a new system comes in their country, then they come and sweet talk us into understanding that, oh, it's Biya and the system that were the problem, we should give them another chance. And trust me, if I'm not still around when that day comes, don't dare. Don't dare. Because it will be a highway to the grave. They have recognized that they can't undo us. This is the confirmation.
Chez nous, on dit que si l'animal est debout, tu ne tires pas. C'est pas lorsqu'il a pris la course que tu vas tirer.
Tout à fait.
Quand cette affaire était à son niveau, il ne l'a pas réglée.
Voilà.
Il y a beaucoup de choses dans cette affaire qui auraient dû être faites de manière sérieuse,
voilà,
avec moins de condescendance.
Vraiment.
Avec plus de considération. Parce que j'ai l'impression que beaucoup ne connaissent pas la psychologie des anglophones.
Je te dis.
Pour quelqu'un qui a vécu avec les anglophones, il va vous dire que un anglophone peut vous obéir pendant très longtemps. Le jour où un anglophone vous dit non,
c'est non,
ne le bousculez pas.
En tout cas.
Parce que là, il devient souvent totalement incontrôlable. Laissez-le se calmer, mais ne lui dites pas que on va te mettre au pas. C'est ce que vous avez pris l'habitude de faire aux francophones.
Je te dis, la répression.
Aucun groupe francophone n'aurait pu résister comme ils vous le font voir là. Parce que chez vous, vous avez dit que dès que les gens font la grève de la faim, vous envoyez le billet contre les affamés et en 24 heures. Et c'est cette mentalité francophone que vous êtes allé dire au président Paul Biya que non, si on envoie les gens là-bas en 24 heures, vous pouvez multiplier le nombre de 24 heures qui ont déjà eu lieu depuis 2016.
Jusqu'à aujourd'hui.
Et maintenant, il n'y a pas que les civils qui meurent. Il y a aussi les membres de notre armée. L'armée n'est pas la propriété de Paul Biya. C'est la propriété de l'État du Cameroun. Ces hommes de l'armée qui meurent également, ce sont nos fils.
Ouais.
Vous pensez que les familles qui ont leurs membres de famille qui meurent là-bas pour une guerre inutile,
Wallahi,
elles se sentent bien? Je voulais ajouter juste
la guerre de Paul Biya, vraiment.
Nous allons être obligés à un moment ou à un autre.
So, folks, let me spare you a lot of that French so you hear. What the gentleman is saying, simply put, is that it has definitely come to their notice that we are not the people who are malleable. They have come to recognize that when we want something, we go for it. It has dawned on them that when we begin, we don't stop. Oh, they are recognizing that we are people who don't yield to stupid threats. No. And he's reminding their system that how many times did they say within 24 hours we will calm down? You recall? Let's say, oh, quand le bif va descendre là-bas, ils vont se comporter. That when the bee will come, we will settle down. But when the bee came, oh, Brave had no pity, swallowed about 16 of them in one go. Have I forgotten that? Yes, about 16 of them in one go with 2 armored cars, reduced to rubble. The bee, yes. And they said, oh, avec tout ça, they said, they appointed Atang upon the Minister of Territorial Administration, avec Atang Angela, ils vont se calmer. Oh, no, 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 no. So that's what the gentleman is now saying. Look, where we stand, they will never, ever defeat us at war. And look at the perspectives. This is the time for us more than ever before, folks, to recall that the way before us is a hard way, and it is the only way. There is no way back. No. Hard way, the only way. Forward always, backward never. Never ever settle for less than you deserve, because you will end up with less than you settled for. I've said this several times. Look at those children in Bamenda on November 6th who risked their lives, their everything. They put their lives on the line for 5,000 to go and answer present. You claim they were celebrating Paul Biya's 41 years in power in La République du Cameroon. Did they get the 5,000? As Mimi made for reports, I'm quoting by her. At the end, they were all disappointed that they ended with 3,000. Some with nothing altogether, because they settled for less than they deserve. Never settle for less than you deserve. Would ever sit down and accept any trash again in the name of federalism or any form of union with La République du Cameroon? No, 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 no. Trust me. We will end up right back where we are today, and even worse. So, folks, let's continue to be resilient. Most especially, let's form this liberation war. Let us continue to be determined. Continue to stand for what we believe in. Let us dare to continue to stand for what we believe in. Let us dare to continue to stand for the freedom of our land, for the freedom of our people. The only way we get to take total control of our destiny, of our own development, and of our land and resources is by kicking La République du Cameroon out of our territory by fire, by force. Folks, I have spoken.